asked us why we created Seeing the Everyday. And the answer was simple. It was because it was needed.
Seeing the Everyday is more than a magazine. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of being. It's a way of seeing relationships first before the task or anything else.
Prosaics has such important meaning when we think about ordinary family life, because naturally we might be inclined to think of the big events as being most important. But in fact, it's the prosaic, ordinary, ritual, routine moments that make all the difference in our family life.
The theories and ideas in the magazine, they can seem so familiar that they can also be easily dismissed. What's interesting is there's layers of depth, both under the concept of the magazine and of learning to really see the everyday and to see it in a new way, that through the lens of relationships.
Yeah, an interesting thing has happened with all our modern technology since the Industrial Revolution, which have been so helpful and meaningful in so many ways. Many of those things don't bring us together for the same purposes as when families worked on farms producing together. So I'll give you an example. Washing dishes. We have dishwashers today when there weren't, and the dishwashers were fathers and mothers and their children washing dishes together. So much more was being accomplished than just cleaning the dishes, but you were actually growing, becoming one together. And that's half of it, but the other half is, how do we really treat one another in that moment? And that particularly is led by father and mother, that how they care about that setting and those exchanges actually sets a rippling effect on everyone and how they revere one another.
Of course, in the world, the work of family life is often denigrated. The mundane tasks of ordinary family life seem like something we would want to get rid of. And yet, in fact, when we look at it, we see they're the glue that holds that family together. They're the bonding mortar that build the structure of family life and enable family and children to do so well.
The stories of Seeing the Everyday, they're not professional authors, and in fact, people can just send us an email and submit some of their thoughts and stories.
There's a lot going on in each issue, and a lot of thought goes into each issue from a visual standpoint, from a story selection and content selection standpoint.
I'm always amazed at the thought that goes behind every detail of the magazine, whether it's the way that a certain image is placed, the type, the way a spread is, what it's communicating visually.
Having everything coming in and joining in the middle.
And it's all for one purpose, to really help all of us see more clearly just our ordinary conversation, how much opportunity there is in those times to really develop our relationships and the way we feel, the way we experience life.
You know, as a photographer, there are photographers that are doing really important things. I mean, around the world, taking pictures of conflicts, of wars, of the problems in the world, and that's so important. And I honestly think that what we are doing with this magazine is every bit as important, because we are trying to promote the family and trying to encourage healthy families. If families are healthy, then there will be less problems, there will be less hunger, there will be less conflict.
We often think that it's what we see that is important about being produced. So it's doing the dishes and getting those done, or it's cleaning the house and getting the house cleaned, when all the while it's the process that is producing all these byproducts of family bonding and identity and character development and unity that we can't measure, but are really the fruits of that kind of work together.
And that's what Seeing the Everyday really does. It doesn't try to take us away from one another. It doesn't try to convince us that buying something or going on a trip or being in a certain place will make us happy. It's it's reminding us that where we'll find the most meaning in life is with those who are right with us.
As human beings, we measure a lot, and we measure ourselves. We measure how much knowledge we have, or what kind of skills we have. I'm not aware of a measure for character that's out there. But if character were being kept track of, how might our lives be different? The goal behind this publication is to bring character into that focus. We'll hopefully read an issue of Seeing the Everyday and think about life in terms of character.
A relationship with an individual is a living and a growing thing. It actually needs nurturing, it needs care, and it needs time and attention to it. We hope that we are bringing these experiences, these stories of ordinary moments where the relationship came first, so that we can read about it and we can reflect more, even day to day, on what we can do, what actually is within our reach that won't cost us a dime, but will help us to reflect on, that's right, I can do a little bit more here, I can do a little bit more there, and in the end, we can strengthen the relationships right around us.